I don't know if it's just me, but recently I began to notice some, I think there are those websites who are looking for clickbaits, like they try to get you to click on their website, and there's a lot of those news, or I don't know if you can call them news, but you should hear this pop star on this vocal track singled out. It means they just strip the backing tracks away, and then they just give you the vocal track of that pop star or whatever musician that is. I remember, I think a long time ago, they had done it to Linda McCartney, and I don't think it's fair to judge musicians like that, because any real musician who played live, they would know that it's impossible to get the same quality as you get in the studio. And especially if you're a pop star, now you don't have to be a star. I mean, like pop musician who is dancing and doing a lot of moves on stage, there is no way you can sound as good. I mean, and if it's a backing track, let's say background vocal singers, even what they do, it's not fair to judge people on stage who are entertainers and who have to be active, who have to look more interesting, and they may sound a little bit off. That's not fair. I don't think it's good. But maybe a common listener who is not a musician, they may think, oh, it's awful. I thought it must be the studio tricks which make them sound so great, on albums, which is neighbor's dog is howling. So anyway, which may be true in a way. I mean. Of course, there may be tricks in studios, that's true, but it doesn't mean that it's always fake. It's always somebody who can't sing at all, and then they get into a studio, suddenly there is magic and they sound great. That's, sometimes it may be, but most of the time I don't believe in that. I think somebody has to have some kind of talent, be it vocals, be it instrument playing, be it dancing or whatever. It's not easy to be a performer and be perfect at everything. And I don't think anybody can be at top level all the time. But also another point is that if you're recording, and anybody who's done some recording, if you have a home studio or if you played in a real studio, if you laid down some tracks, multiple tracks, you would notice that sometimes there are tracks, I mean, if you single it out, it may sound awful or kind of awful, but those tracks where you play kind of off, where you behind the beat a bit, they would bring some sort of thickness to your track. They would bring some kind of flavor in your track. Your lead guitar would sound better, although you wouldn't hear that second track exactly. It would be really low, it would be very quiet, but yet it would bring a lot of muscle to your lead tone or lead vocal. But the thing is, I remember actually recording, I think it was a solo or something, I can't remember exactly, I think it was solo or some licks between the vocal melodies some time ago. And there was a way between the parts of the song where I was playing, I was just, trying to mute the strings. But while I was muting, there were these little quicks, little squeaky sounds and all that. And they brought in something. I didn't know what I was doing exactly, but they brought in some kind of flavor with those little licks or between them with the rhythm. And then later, I didn't remember what I was doing there, and I wanted to recreate it. I couldn't do it because it's just gone. I wasn't really playing anything. I was just maybe making noise without realizing, but that noise brought in some kind of flavor. So it's same with the vocals. It can be backing vocals or it can be guitars, somebody playing a little bit of, and I remember, I think it was... no, I can't remember, some legendary bass player, they had singled out his bass lines and it didn't sound that great, but when you put it together with the band, there was a groove there, and that groove came from that a bit offbeat playing, a bit behind or ahead of the beat kind of playing that brought in so much flavor to the song. So I think that's about it. I think everybody's trying to make a living, everybody's trying to present something, and I think we should not fall for those clickbaits and immediately judge people, judge musicians, and it's, you know, yeah, this video was about that. It's not a big deal, but hey, I want to talk about it. I see you on the next video.